Caitlin Clark fouls Angel Reese. Angel Reese does one of these LeBron flops and falls on the ground. I mean, she learned it from LeBron. Falls to the ground. And the next thing you know, DeMarcus like, oh, my God, she's protected. Oh, it's all because she's white and all this other stuff. And then Angel Reese comes out and she's saying all these things. And then Jameel Hill comes out. Rob, I don't know if you have this clip or not. Jameel Hill comes out and says Angel Reese at the end of her career is going to end up being calls Angel Reese end of career will be known as Michael Jordan. All right. So for some of you guys that are watching this.
A recent wave of allegations has reignited controversy surrounding WNBA player Brittney Griner. Former prison staff have come forward with bold claims, challenging public perceptions and sparking intense scrutiny. Their accounts describe confrontations, consistent resistance to authority, and confusion surrounding gender documentation. These revelations follow a turbulent period in Griner's life and have re-entered the spotlight amid ongoing tensions in the league, particularly after a high-profile clash with rising star Caitlin Clark.
Deserve the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe, and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are, or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason.
The timing of these statements adds fuel to the fire as the WNBA faces growing backlash over Clark's treatment and alleged double standards within the league. Questions have resurfaced about Griner's past behavior and whether key issues were overlooked. Discussions now revolve not just around a single player, but around deeper systemic inconsistencies and how controversies are addressed, especially when involving prominent figures.
Unbelievable.
Have you seen this thing? So Jameel Hill, Rob, if you can find this thing. She says Angel Reese will end up being Michael Jordan in the end of her career. All right, we'll find this. Yes, I just typed that up, asked the question. Yes, Jameel Hill has publicly expressed her belief in Angel Reese has the potential to become the Michael Jordan of WNBA in a recent statement Hill placed ahead of Caitlin Clark, suggesting that Reese could be viewed as the league's defining superstar like a Michael Jordan. Is that the one, Rob? If you can,
I'm looking for the clip.
Yeah. Okay. Like anyway, so then outside of that,
Griner, previously detained in Russia, served nearly a year in one of the nation's harshest penal facilities after being arrested in February 2022 for possession of cannabis oil. Her newly published memoir, Coming Home, offers a harrowing account of her imprisonment, including degrading conditions and personal trauma. The narrative details humiliating strip searches, overcrowded and unsanitary cells, lack of hygiene essentials, and beds that could barely accommodate her tall frame. She endured freezing temperatures at times so extreme her hair froze, leading her to cut off her iconic dreadlocks.
RG3 and comes out and says, man, you know, Caitlin Clark is a superstar and she's, you know, bigger than life and all this stuff. Ryan Clark, out of nowhere, Ryan Clark, who's a commentator, out of nowhere comes out and he says, well, what does RG3 know anything about this? RG3, who was a former quarterback, a great rookie quarterback.
Washington,
yeah.
Went to Marshall.
Beyond physical suffering, the emotional strain left lasting damage. Griner describes moments of overwhelming despair, even admitting she considered ending her life during the earliest stages of confinement. She spoke of feeling dehumanized, reduced from a world-renowned athlete to a number in a system that offered little compassion. Guards, according to her account, swung between ridicule and fascination, scorning her presence while paradoxically requesting autographs. Her survival was powered by inner resilience and mental endurance, as well as distant hope of returning to her loved ones.
He says, what would RG3 know, who's a black man, by the way? He says, what would RG3 know about this? He's married to a white woman.
So
And they're like, wait, what did you say? Ryan Clark says RG3 is married to a white woman. What would he know about all this stuff that's taking place?
He actually said those words.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to you, I haven't heard that.
So, okay, Rob,
what a crappy thing to say.
Can you find this clip where Ryan Clark says, how would he know he's married to a white girl? Is that the clip, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, play this clip. Watch this, Vinny.
During her time in Russia, conspiracy theories swirled online, including unverified claims regarding her gender. Viral posts suggested Griner had been subjected to DNA testing to prove her biological sex, alleging Russian officials had classified her incorrectly. Social media rapidly amplified these rumors, fueled by edited images and fabricated, leaked documents. Yet no official evidence ever supported these claims. Fact-checking organizations dismissed them entirely, affirming that Griner had always been placed in women's detention and that Russia had never requested gender verification.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball.
Still, the controversy didn't end with her release. After returning to the WNBA, Griner quickly became embroiled in new disputes. One incident in particular sparked national debate. After fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, a phrase she allegedly muttered, believed by some to target Caitlin Clark, caused uproar. Some insisted she said bleep white girl, while others, including former ESPN host Jameli Hill, argued the phrase was bleep whack call. The dispute became symbolic of deeper frustrations with media narratives, racial dynamics, and selective accountability in sports.
I feel like it was assessed correctly, and Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard
Rob,
foul.
is this the one
that's
where he says
competitiveness? That's rivalry.
RG3
that's not
is
hate.
married to a
and
white?
So now, though, when RG3
Yes,
jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's.
Criticism has also intensified regarding Team USA's Olympic selections. While Griner was placed on the roster, others questioned why Clark, despite her popularity and performance, was left out. This fueled further debate on whether personal bias or league politics played a role in such decisions. For some observers, these inconsistencies highlighted what they see as a pattern of contradictions within the WNBA, championing equality while enforcing uneven standards.
Heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom.
But
now, when you look at it, I think A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson.
Who's the face of the league?
He said Angel Reese?
Moreover, the league's handling of race, sexuality, and gender continues to draw contrasting opinions. As a Black gay woman, Griner's identity has often been framed as symbolic of the WNBA's progressive values. However, critics argue that similar behavior by others, particularly white players, would have resulted in far different public reactions and consequences. The juxtaposition has led to ongoing accusations of hypocrisy within the league and beyond. In a broader cultural context, this case has transcended basketball, from global headlines about a prisoner swap involving Griner and a Russian arms dealer dubbed the Merchant of Death, to courtroom battles over high school girls' access to women's sports categories in the U.S. Griner's story has become intertwined with discussions on justice, fairness, identity, and politics.
Who did he say is the face of the league?
A'ja Wilson.
Okay, you can pause that.
Yeah.
RG3 responds back. RG3 responds back and says, what is that all about? To Ryan Clark's credit, he apologizes about this. Then Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
As the spotlight remains firmly fixed on her, the divide in public opinion only seems to grow. Supporters point to her resilience, accomplishments, and mistreatment as evidence of her strength. Critics emphasize accountability, inconsistencies, and the need for balanced coverage. Whatever side one falls on, the story of Brittney Griner continues to resonate far beyond the hardwood, illustrating the complex intersections of sports, society, and identity in today's world. In December 2022, following months of high-stakes diplomatic discussions and increasing concern over her prolonged detention in in Russia, Brittney Griner was released through a dramatic prisoner exchange. The swap took place on a fog-covered airstrip in Abu Dhabi, where Griner was traded for Viktor Bout, a Russian arms trafficker widely known as the Merchant of Death. The moment became iconic. Griner, visibly worn down but visibly relieved, was finally free while Bout returned to Moscow.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
That pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands.
The event triggered widespread celebration across the U.S. Despite the political controversy surrounding the trade, Griner's immediate response upon arriving home focused on appreciation and the plight of others still in captivity, particularly former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan, who remains jailed in Russia. After enduring 93 days behind bars, Griner's release marked a significant turning point. However, this milestone did not signal closure. Instead, it marked the beginning of a new phase in her life. Public reaction intensified as new developments surfaced. During a game against the Indiana Fever, Griner made headlines for a comment that sparked widespread online debate. A viral TikTok clip caught her voice in the background, allegedly making a racially charged remark described by many as offensive and inappropriate. The reaction was swift, with online communities dissecting her behavior and motivation. Observers speculated that the incident revealed deeper issues related to public scrutiny, internal conflict, and public perception. As professionals analyzed her conduct on the court, attention shifted to her broader role in the sports world and social conversation.
Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just.
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place.
Griner later spoke about the challenges of playing against certain teams, noting the overwhelming noise and disruption from the audience whenever a specific player was involved. Her comments reflected frustration with the spectacle that surrounded her games, pointing to the unique attention and pressure she faced in each match. She described the atmosphere as unusually chaotic, generated not just by gameplay but by audience dynamics, and questioned the intent behind the growing crowds. Her return to the Phoenix Mercury in 2023 was more than a comeback. It was a statement of resilience. She secured a spot as an all-star despite enduring psychological and emotional scars. Beyond basketball, Griner expanded her influence by using her platform to support Americans detained overseas and to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. Transforming her hardship into activism, she began reshaping her public identity with a clear sense of purpose. By early 2025, Griner made another major move, one that shocked the basketball world. After spending 11 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury, she signed with the Atlanta Dream in what many called one of the most unexpected and high-profile free agency decisions in WNBA history. Fans were left stunned following recent developments in the WNBA. The Atlanta Dream, a rising contender with championship aspirations, had welcomed Brittney Griner, who was seeking a clean slate. For Griner, Atlanta seemed to represent a fresh beginning and a promising environment surrounded by emerging talent. At the same time, another major storyline was unfolding. Caitlin Clark, the sharpshooting sensation from Iowa, had emerged as a household name in women's basketball. Drafted first overall by the Indiana Fever in April 2024, Clark entered the WNBA amid immense public attention, with expectations as high as her college highlights were impressive. By 2025, Clark had already made waves in her rookie season, regularly putting up big numbers for the Fever. Her arrival brought not only excitement to Indiana, but renewed hope for a team long searching for success. The media quickly labeled her a once-in-a-generation star with the potential to reshape the franchise. Naturally, anticipation grew for the inevitable meeting between veteran star Griner and the rapidly rising Clark. That clash finally took place on May 23, 2025, during a regular season game between the Atlanta Dream and Indiana Fever. However, what was expected to be a standard matchup quickly escalated into one of the most talked-about games of the season. Brittney Griner, now anchoring Atlanta's roster, faced off against Caitlin Clark, Indiana's promising new leader. From tip-off, the contest carried an unusually intense energy, resembling the stakes of a playoff bout rather than a spring matchup.
You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross.
Well,
Are you
I act like this.
Okay.
Rob,
You're
can you
joking.
verify that this is what she said on the mom and pop WNBA model? That she's sick of the and then she says the whole thing is toxic.
The encounter followed a previous game where the Dream had defeated the Fever, and Indiana entered determined to turn the tables on their home court. Throughout the game, tension simmered. Footage showed Griner and Clark exchanging words on the court. Clark, known for her competitive fire, didn't shy away, while Griner, the experienced veteran, appeared intent on asserting her dominance. The pivotal moment occurred in the second half. Griner was called for her 6th foul after a collision with Clark during an offensive screen. Griner's elbow made contact, and Clark fell to the floor, drawing a foul. While some viewers accused Clark of exaggerating the fall, officials deemed the contact sufficient for disqualification, sending Griner to the bench visibly frustrated. Controversy erupted as cameras captured Griner mouthing something toward Clark during her exit. Many claimed Griner used inflammatory language, including calling Clark trash and referring to her race in a derogatory way. Though lip readers and social media users quickly spread the clip, the exact words remain debated. The incident sparked intense discussion, with viewers split between outrage and defense. Later that night, discussions escalated. The fourth quarter incident gained traction as people revisited the footage, speculating on what was said. Indiana ultimately won the game 81-76, but the heated moment between the two stars overshadowed the final score. Griner's alleged comment rapidly went viral across social platforms, fueling a broader conversation about race, respect, and rivalry in sports. Online reactions were swift and polarizing. Some condemned Griner for what appeared to be a racially insensitive remark, while others defended her, arguing the clip lacked context. Regardless of intent, the moment intensified the spotlight on the league and its star. While media focus zeroed in on this clash, attention was also drawn to unrelated controversy involving Angel Reese. The WNBA had launched an investigation into allegations made by Reese regarding the behavior of Indiana Fever fans. However, after 2 weeks, no credible evidence supported the claims. This prompted questions about the league's priorities, particularly why an incident with clear video evidence like Griner's had yet to be directly addressed. At the same time, an independent outlet known for raising tough questions had reportedly applied for media access to cover the Atlanta Dream's June 6th game. The request was denied, citing limited space. According to the outlet, this was a rare refusal, given that access to professional sporting events had previously been granted without issue. The denial raised concerns about media transparency and whether the league was selectively restricting press coverage to avoid scrutiny. The situation brought renewed attention to the league's handling of sensitive issues and the standards applied to its players. As debates raged, calls for accountability and open dialogue grew louder. What began as a tense on-court moment had evolved into a national conversation about media access, athlete behavior, and how professional leagues address difficult topics, especially when high-profile players are involved.